So last time we talked about how that we are starting a Patreon.
Yes.
I want to run a hypothetical by you.
Okay.
Say we are achieving our high tier goal, which is a joke. It's over 9,000. Ha 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 ha. Do you believe that would affect you mentally? You're recognized by all these people as being a creator. In your day-to-day life, would you feel just better, just as a person?
I think there'd be some sort of satisfaction to it, sure. I don't think it would change most of me. Having money to do the creative work that you want to do is something that very few creatives get to actually experience. And I like to think that I wouldn't waste that opportunity. You know, with that amount of money, we could potentially like afford professional studio space, or at the very least new equipment. We could do more episodes. We could do more series. We could like leverage some of that money to do like interviews with people that are important within the DBZ community, which would be cool. We could do more fan art, like trailers.
Yeah,
it would open up a lot of possibilities, and I think that I would put that to good use. Like I would just work more essentially. But mentally, unless we just got like a flood of emails and stuff, support wise, I don't know. I don't think so. But I do think it would be more fulfilling. Like for me personally, just in life, I would be more satisfied than I currently am. Because like, you know, regular jobs can eat your soul for some people. And I like to think I'm one of those people. I feel like the recognition we've got for doing this job has already been fantastic. But if we got over 9,000, like I'd be over the moon. I'd be very happy. But what about you, man?
What about me?
Do you think it would change you being a DBZ celebrity?
Well, Toriyama's my dad, so
well, you might get the chance to actually tell him.
Do I think it would change me? I would be sad for the community as a whole that I would end up as a representative for some people. That is how I would feel about it, because there are so many other way better individuals to represent other people's interests. I can agree with you. It would be vastly more fulfilling than being a cog in the machine, knowing that you can be instantly replaced at any point in time and no one would give a shit. But at the same time, would it affect my personality? I don't know. Probably not. Because I just compartmentalize the fact that people even listen to anything that I do anyway. Like if I see the number of views this podcast gets or listens that a song gets, I'm just like, nope, that's not real. I'm just I was too shaky, too anxious. It'd be like if we did a panel in Comic-Con and people actually showed up. I would just pretend that somebody paid them to show up.
I like that. And I think people appreciate that mindset too. Because I don't think at the end of the day we'd be a representative of anything. I think it's just a mark that people want to support what we're doing.
That's probably true.
Like they just they enjoy our little stupid show.
I think you carry the humble attitude more than I do.
What a weird podcast we do.
I know. Isn't it fantastic? It's kind of why I enjoy it, because doesn't matter. So anyway, I guess this is the part where I go, last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we talked about the 17 and Piccolo fight. Actually, no, it was after that. And we talked about self-absorption of 17. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. And then it got kind of uncomfortable and weird. And then Cell is a different being now, except not really. He's just more complete. And now we're here. This time on Uncomfortable Ball Z.
It's very uncomfortable. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 155 to 159 of Dragon Ball Z, which, thinking about it now, I think I forgot to say last episode. So
whatever, it's fine.
Who cares?
You get it at this point. We've done this a lot. So
does this form of Cell have an official name?
This one's the greasy creeper one. I think it's semi-perfect Cell. That's literally what the name is.
So imperfect, semi-perfect, and then spoiler alert.
It's just
you'll never guess.
Yeah, what comes next? Oh my god,
dude, I hate doing this. But I'm just gonna run and grab my dinner. Got here way earlier than I expected.
Oh, no worries.
Like, I'm just gonna go grab it really quick so it's not sitting out the door. It's outside.
Good idea. Shit, you know what I should have said? Uncomfortable Z. There's a French word for thinking of the perfect thing just way too late, which I realize I could use that word for not knowing the French word for thinking of. Anyway. No, I'm not singing another song while you're gone. It's a one-time thing.
Oh my god, those fries are so good.
Oh no, and now you have to suffer doing a podcast.
Suffer? This is like this is my dessert first.
That is the nicest thing. That's the nicest way anybody will ever describe what we're doing.
Yeah. we're going to jump right into it here with episode 155. Japanese title is Suddenly Full Throttle, the superpower of a radiant Vegeta. American title is Super Vegeta. I don't know why I switched voices, but just Radiant Vegeta. That just sounds right.
It does. My episode title is the one where Vegeta fists Cell's chesticles.
This episode opens with Cell killing more people. He's still blowing up islands. He's still searching for 16 and 18, more specifically 18.
Mm-hmm. I know that 18 turns to 16 and says, hey, you said he wasn't going to destroy the islands. He wouldn't risk it. And 16 gives the deadpan, I was wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm getting a lot of these scenes mixed up. Which sucks to do over the course of 2 episodes, but I believe this is where 16 says he's probably just blowing up islands, but will survive. Like, just enough of an explosion to kill everybody.
Yeah, I don't remember if that...
Oh, no, I know why I'm getting confused, because this is the episode where they recap everything for the first 7 minutes.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
We knew we would forget.
Yep. The one thing that's different is 16 is attracting more animals than a virgin Disney princess.
Yeah, it's
just
true.
All over him, the chipmunks and birds. At this point, he's just a tree.
And I love that in this time of crisis, 18 spots this and says, maybe your friends can help us, which is it's good.
18's a great character. Like, there's not a lot of time spent on 18, but even the small little lines that 18 gets shows there's a lot of character there.
I actually do like her quite a bit, like the quiet, but I'm not going to say she's a well-written female character, but I think that the female characters on this show have been so much worse.
Of the female characters on the show, she is the most well-written.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it doesn't saying a lot, but it's refreshing.
So this recaps a couple things. Like, so much of this it's just rehash. Like, Vegeta and Trunks head towards Cell, Bulma, Tien, and Piccolo hang out on Kami Tower. Mm-hmm. Gohan and Goku explore the time chamber,
which is the worst one. It's
really they murdered that scene.
They did, because instead of being because we talked about what happened last time in the previous one, the way superior version. I don't think we talked about this one, which is Gohan is now afraid of the whole thing. He's getting the same fear thing that Trunks got, and Goku has to tell him, it'll be okay, don't worry.
It's character regression for Gohan.
Yes.
He's interested, he's a scholar, he's fascinated. He's sort of gotten over, not completely, but he's grown from the scared little boy that the show started with, after like going to Namek and, facing off against all these threats and stuff.
Yes. And even in the previous episodes when he gets really angry because Piccolo's in danger.
Yeah, he wants to go fight.
So yes, it's character regression. That's 100% what it is. And I didn't think about this until somebody said in this episode that there's no airflow in the hyperbolic time chamber. I think it's when Gohan's freaking out and Goku's kind of calming him down and explaining what's happening. That place probably smells so bad.
I don't know. What's the deal with smell? Does it stick around? Because it is open air and it's infinite, right?
But with zero airflow whatsoever, I don't know, because later in this episode, we'll get to how the hyperbolic time chamber changes.
It does change and do different stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It probably still smells like sweaty Vegeta tank, which nobody needs that.
Well, it's been like, in the context of the hyperbolic time chamber, it's been probably months.
Oh, that's true. Since they came out.
Since Vegeta and Trunks, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's probably been probably. I just said probably so many times. 5-6 months. Yeah. God damn. We rehash that shitty moment. We go back to Cell exterminating city after city after city after island after island. And of course, there's only one island left.
Yeah.
And of course,
I do like the music during this part. I don't remember exactly what it sounds like, but I remember it sticking out.
So it's Vegeta is on the way and he gets like this crazy sweet guitar solo.
That's right. It's like a Vegeta theme, but they add this guitar riff to it.
Yeah.
Because we've heard the first theme before, but they add to it and it's amazing. Vegeta arrives right before Cell can blast that last island.
Yes. Vegeta has the best music. I don't know why they gave Vegeta the best music.
Consistently, his character has like a couple themes and they're awesome. My next note is just a quote that says, "How could you have turned out so ugly?" It tells me something about the show that I don't know if it's Vegeta that says it to Cell or the other way around.
Cell is talking about how, Vegeta, you don't think you could really take me. I know that you're very prideful because your cells make up my own. And Vegeta's like, it's hard to believe that you're a part of me because you turned out so ugly.
That's right. Yeah. I love this scene of Cell and Vegeta facing off because it shows that they have the exact same level of ego.
They do. Mhm.
I'm pretty sure this is where Cell says, "I am the strongest in the universe." Like that's it's a Vegeta line.
It
It's
is.
100% a Vegeta line. And Trunks shows up too, and just this whole core character of Trunks is unchanged. But there's so much of Vegeta in him now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a marked difference. Like on purpose, they changed some of the characters' dialogue and like voice reading to mimic Vegeta just a little bit more after spending so much time with him.
Yeah, I could 100% see that. He's much more stoic. Like, Trunks was never exactly a chatty Cathy before, but Trunks was very...
He was cracking open the fridge and sharing beer with everybody,
hopeful.
Yeah.
And that's now kind of missing. Now it's stoicism and anger.
He's not evil. He's still a good guy.
Right.
But like,
yeah.
It's just his personality shifted a bit.
Yeah, it was a bad time for Trunks. A real bad time.
Cell and Vegeta continue to banter. You won't be much of a challenge, or this won't be much of a challenge. And Vegeta says, for me, absolutely not.
It really is a big old dick swinging contest for just a couple minutes. It gets to be a little much after the first couple exchanges. You're like, okay, I get it. You're both just trying to outmuscle the other one with words. Start punching now, please. Back in the HTC, Hyperbolic Time Chamber, I know that Goku is telling Gohan, I remember he's telling Gohan, the further out you go, the denser the air becomes, the heavier the gravity becomes. And I totally forgot that Gohan has never trained in increased gravity ever before.
Yeah, it's weird. Goku's fine with it, obviously. The gravity in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber is said to be 10 times as more than Earth. So I think, if I'm remembering right, that's King Kai's planet level. The interesting part about that scene is gravity doesn't increase until you step off the platform of the actual chamber itself. There's this like small little building with a kitchen and bathroom and beds and all that. That's sort of this diving board kind of concrete area that extends out into the white nothingness with no roof or anything. That's all Earth gravity. And the second that Gohan steps onto the whiteness, he just like falls.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It draws into question what it was like when Goku was in there in Dragon Ball.
Which I don't think you see it. He does make mention of it in this episode, and he's like, I could only stay in here a month.
But the problem that I'm having is then he went to King Kai's planet and acted like he had never... It's okay. Like a retconny kind of write-in thing, so...
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Goku outlines his 1-year plan for Gohan here.
Oh, this is a great scene.
It's fantastic. You're gonna become a Super Saiyan. And Gohan's like, what? Me? And this is absolutely a good dad Goku moment where Goku is saying, yeah, I'm going to be a tougher teacher than Piccolo ever was, but I want you to try your best. And no matter what happens, I'll still be proud of you. And he boops his nose.
It's so great. Really an awesome moment.
Yes.
And the beginning of Goku's good dad arc.
Mm-hmm. For the past couple episodes, Goku's got some good dad points.
He's been good. You're right. Like, he's been good.
It might have been since he almost died.
Yeah. You're totally right. Like, the minute he wakes up from the heart disease, he's like trying to do what's best for Gohan. He's not only been a better dad, but he's been a better husband towards Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
And Chi-Chi a better wife towards him. They have this, some good moments there. Goku's just been an all-around better person since his near-death experience.
Yeah, that's very true. So then we got to cut back to, after that wonderful, wonderful scene, we cut back to normal DBZ stuff, which is Vegeta's energy bowel movement.
Yeah.
And I call it that because Vegeta is now powering up.
It's not only the screaming, but his physical position is very squatty.
Yeah, she's trying real hard to summon up the energy, and he does, and it's a big, long streaming scene, and Eric would hate this.
My favorite part is, I have two favorite parts of this, but his hair explodes.
His hair explodes!
His hair just goes, bleh, and it's instantly like 2 feet longer.
Yes, so he becomes supersonic Vegeta, and also, he is made of lightning at this point. Like, he is just so incredibly powerful that I don't think they knew exactly how to display how powerful he was. So the lightning is now bright yellow Super Saiyan color, and he is now Super Vegeta.
Yeah, and then he punches Cell, and then the episode ends.
That's right. He punches Cell, and Cell doesn't get to react. It's a good moment, actually.
It's a really good moment.
So the final shot of the episode is Vegeta fisting Cell right in the chesticles, and his fist goes deep in there and pushes out the back, and Cell it
doesn't go through, but it does, like, you can see the deformation of Cell's body.
Distension that always happens.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's called, right? Distension. I keep asking you.
I really don't want to Google it.
I'll do it.
All right.
I'm not afraid. Generally refers to an enlargement, dilation, or ballooning effect of the human body.
Gross. Episode 156. The Japanese title is On Your Knees, Cell. I am Super Vegeta. The American title is Bow to the Prince.
My title is the one where Vegeta becomes an elemental being.
I'm trying to think if that's like a pun joke.
Nope, it's just a visual gag. A lot of the names I come up with are visual gags that you won't get unless you watch the episodes. So I'm sorry.
Which makes it perfect for podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, it's incentive.
Yeah, I guess.
So this episode opens with a Vegeta punching Cell, and it distorts Cell's face wildly.
Yes.
Vegeta continues to wail on Cell while rock music plays, and it's pretty great.
What? I'll disagree with you.
Is it not great?
For me, it wasn't like, I love metal. I love hard rock. And this just kind of sounded like badly mixed static. And the art got a huge downgrade from the previous episode. So I have gripes, but continue.
Wow. I was 12 years old again. Like, I was watching
Really?
Dragon Ball Z, and it was like, this is so cool. Because, like, I didn't care about quality back then.
I guess that's fair. I think my standards got incredibly raised when they made that movie quality section of art and scenes for the 16 imperfect Cell fight. And it was just so incredible. It's not terrible. But
And I think the fact that it's just Vegeta kicking Cell's ass is what elevates it for me. Like, the concept of the scene more than the scene itself.
That feels real good.
And I do like some of what the ancillary characters are doing. Like, Trunks is kind of just standing there. Remember, he's also trained just as much as Vegeta, but he's literally just standing there watching it. No emotion on his face or anything. And we hear his thoughts, and he knew the way this fight was going to go. One more thing about Stoic Trunks, which is just the highlight of that scene. Mm-hmm. He's standing on a cliff edge. The cliff edge is hanging over the water.
I remember this.
And as he's like just thinking, just standing there watching the fight, I'm trying to explain this to do it justice, but the battle's going on between Cell and Vegeta, so much so that the rocks that Trunks are standing on, the actual cliff, falls into the water. Mm-hmm. And as it falls, Trunks doesn't fall. He just begins to fly and doesn't really move at all as the ground just slips into the water below him, and he keeps that same expression on his face. It's fantastic.
It's like a bad guy thing to do almost.
And then we get the one and only
flashback to his time in the hyperbolic time chamber.
And I think from watching it, it doesn't seem like it's like an unreliable narrator flashback. It's painted with the emotions that Trunks experiences during that time.
Yeah.
More than a look back at what actually happened.
That's what it is. It's like 80% Trunks' perception of what's happening and 20% actual events.
You kind of get that through the dialogue as well, because it's very flowery. It's almost poetic, the way that he describes how he was feeling and what the place was like and what he had to go through.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
The only thing that I hate about this flashback is that Trunks' hair is long the entire
time. That bothered me too.
Yeah, because like if this is where they first entered, and Vegeta basically, he's very aggressive and won't let Trunks do anything with him, and he just says, I train alone, and walks away, and Trunks is just left to his own devices. The whole time, Trunks' hair is long.
Yeah.
So unless this happened like 9 months into it, it's a bit of an error, and I wish they would have, like, it just kind of ruined it.
You know what I just realized? My standards for this show absolutely have been raised. Because this is like, okay, yeah, his hair was long, and that's one of the biggest gripes that I have. The art was not fantastic, and that's one of the biggest gripes that I have. None of this is bad. Like, all of this is still fucking awesome, and I would gladly sit down and watch it all again.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and I think I agree. Like, there were episodes in the past, other sagas, where we were like, I don't want to really watch this show.
Yeah, it felt like a waste.
Like, it was a struggling of getting through the episodes. We have nitpicks. The show's not perfect, but like, I'm enjoying the episodes a lot.
Yes. I just wanted to throw that out there because
that's good.
We're of course always going to poke holes in things that need holes poked, but this is great. This is really genuinely good and enjoyable to watch.
And maybe that's indoctrination of, 5 seasons of this show, but I really honestly feel like the quality has improved.
I think it absolutely has. If we're doing our job of looking at it objectively, it seems to have figured itself out as far as its tone and pacing. Now we're bouncing over back to the actual time chamber, which contains our 2 favorite characters, the Go family. It's Goku and Gohan. That was me deciphering my own nonsense notes. And so Gohan's getting some lessons from his daddo, And his dad's trying to teach him how to become a Super Saiyan.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite quotes of this batch of episodes.
Yes. And Goku says the power comes in response to a need instead of a desire. Try and use the pain of loss. And Gohan stops and goes, wait, I haven't really lost anything. And his dad's go, okay, I guess so. Well, just pretend like everybody that was on Namek is dying.
No, first he says, imagine that Cell has killed everybody you love.
That's right.
And Gohan's like, I've never seen Cell. So Goku's like, okay, well then just imagine Frieza. And I think that they did this because they didn't want a whole slew of new animation with what I will call Gohan's nightmare.
Yes.
So what they do is they just insert flashbacks of the Frieza saga and Gohan on Namek. I don't think there's new animation to any of this.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of Namek flashbacks.
It's fine, whatever.
I don't think Toriyama did that to like copy and paste in the manga, but maybe they did it in the, I don't know. I have no idea.
They could have just been a show thing. Like whatever. It's a 2-minute scene. It saves a couple bucks but I noticed it, like it was
Same.
very apparent because I would have loved to see like Gohan v Cell solo.
Oh yeah.
What's interesting about this is first of all I love seeing Goku as an actual teacher.
Yeah.
It's not just punch kick. He actually has like advice that makes sense. Gohan imagines all this stuff and you see him in the hyperbolic time chamber powering up in response to thinking through these horrible flashbacks. And for a split second, you can see him turn into a Super Saiyan.
His hair gets golden for
just a second. His hair gets golden for just a second. It's a wonderful little shot.
It's so good. I don't know why that specifically is so fucking cool.
It shows the progression of the character.
That's what it is.
It feels earned. And
okay, yeah, explain it all intellectually because I feel all of those things. I just don't have the brain power to be like, that's why.
It's showing, not telling.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So Goku is a good dad again. After that happens, Gohan kind of wants to go on and keep going because he's literally almost there. But Goku says, that's enough for today. Let's rest and, making sure his son is going to be okay.
Wonderful family character moments. Everybody seems to have kind of settled into who they are in the best possible ways. Except for Vegeta, he's still a giant prick.
Well, even, in the best possible way, quote unquote, but he has settled into a character that is, you can tell when he's off script. So
right, you understand.
These episodes, he's definitely not off script.
Yeah, exactly. You understand when they're being who they should be. And so speaking of Vegeta, they are just absolutely annihilating the Bugmen.
I can't speak to the quality, but again, like the 12-year-old in me was like, oh my God, Vegeta's beating the crap out of Cell.
Yeah, the art and animation got so much better after the first half of the episode. And Vegeta is wiping the floor with Cell.
There's a part where, well, two things actually. Number one of my notes, all caps, mouth beam. Cell uses a mouth beam, which is just like a shoop de whoop kind of like.
I'm so glad you know what that is.
I cannot imagine that wasn't at least influenced by Cell because the lips are the same, the eyes were the same, like the beam is the same.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm a fire and my lasers is Cell for sure.
It's so great to see the origin of that, and I'm convinced that it is. So Cell even gets in a lucky punch on Vegeta and sends him flying a bit. Trunks still isn't worried at all. Then Cell powers up again and turns everything blue.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was really strange. It wasn't his aura color. Like it was out of nowhere.
Yeah,
really.
It just changed all the saturation of the whole scene. Everything, the rocks, the characters, was weird.
Krillin finds the island. He's got the remote to shut down Android 18. He's part of the peanut gallery from now on. Something I love about Cell powering up in this scene, it shows this weird effect that I've never seen before. He increases his power. At least I think it's him. It might be Vegeta, actually. I forgot to say who it was. Damn it. One of them increases their power in such a way that normally a crater would form, but instead it's like the top layer of ground just is obliterated. So like the grass goes away and there's just dirt underneath, but it is like, 3 inches of ground that just is obliterated. But it's even across the entire space that they're in. And it's this huge like crater, not crater. It was really interesting. Yeah, I can't remember which one of them.
They're doing a fantastic job of showing how strong these people are getting without rehashing the exact same thing again and again and again and again. And
there's always cool stuff to do to wreck the Earth. Apparently.
Pretty much. It's fantastic. And there's a point in time where Vegeta allows Vegeta allows Cell to punch him in the face just to show how strong he is.
Vegeta does bleed from the punch, and he says, that one was free. I can't.
Yeah,
that one was free, is what he says.
That was a free one. And Cell steps back and is shocked. He's like, You're not Vegeta.
He like freaks out, and it's only to give Vegeta the opening to say,
"That's right, I'm Super Vegeta." Which, if you're a Vegeta fan, this is fantastic. You know, I started the show off as a bigger Vegeta fan than I am now.
I was curious where you ended up on this, and we'll get into it in a couple episodes, but I feel like the narrator even acknowledges it as the episode closes. I can't remember the exact quote, but he's like, would it even be a good thing if Vegeta wins the fight? Because what would Vegeta do next with all this power? You know, find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. And it's like, yeah, Vegeta's not a good guy. He's the hero of this moment, but it's still bad for everybody.
It's acknowledged in the next episode by some other characters, too.
Leads us right into episode 157. The Japanese title is Dangerous Pride, a challenge to Cell's perfect form. The American title is Hour of Temptation.
My title is the one where Vegeta drops hell on a Cell.
Oh, that's a great title.
So I think it starts off with Cell being incredulous. How did you get this strong? Did you write the quote down?
Vegeta responds, I do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups.
And I drink plenty of juice.
And Cell gets mad. He clenches his fist so hard that it starts to bleed.
Oh my God, that's so uncomfortable. Every time that happens.
Yeah. It cuts to Krillin really quick as the bird's eye view of the island sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the island, we've watched it become like the only island in the area for one, and slowly get destroyed. As he looks down on it, there's like no more green anymore. It used to be like this lush sort of, you know, tropical sort of island, and it's just deserted rock.
I didn't even notice that. That's awesome ass attention to detail.
Cell does the Gatlic gun,
which weird decision.
So many things were strange about that. Yeah.
First thing, Trunks recognizes, hey, that's my father's. How the fuck does Trunks know that?
I don't know.
Unless Vegeta did it in the time chamber, but otherwise Trunks would never have seen this. 0 out of 10.
Right?
It was bad writing, bad show.
Bad writing, bad show.
It doesn't make any sense. Maybe Cell was going for the, I know your moves to like get in his head.
But he doesn't say that. And even if it's showing instead of telling, Vegeta doesn't care
at all.
He doesn't even acknowledge it at all.
I think he just
Trunks
stands
does.
with arms folded, like smirking, because that's what Vegeta always is doing anyway.
Yeah,
so,
but it could have been any blast. Like, it doesn't matter that it's Gatlic gun. Yeah. And how the hell does Cell even know? They're not born knowing these moves.
Doesn't Gohan know how to do a Kamehameha? And he's never fucking trained on how to do that.
That's a decent point, but I'll counter with Piccolo doing the special beam cannon in the first saga and saying, I've been working on a new special move, but it needs time to charge up. He didn't know how to do it before then. He's been working on it. So it's developed over time as an adult.
That's true.
And Cell can just do it.
So did Dr. Gero just program the knowledge of how to do these moves into Cell?
If you're really looking for a narrative loophole, I guess you could say he did because he's been watching them for some time. So
it just doesn't. But you're right; it doesn't make sense because even showing an image, like I can show you a picture of how to do like whatever a kung fu karate backflip, and then you'd be like, "Yeah, I know what that looks like now," but I'm not just gonna do it.
Oh, I like this part. So there's an explosion as Cell does the Gatlic gun, and we cut back to 18 and 16, and 18 actually saves a squirrel from getting obliterated by the explosion.
This is such an awesome moment.
Vegeta's fine. He survived the blast, although Trunks did look worried for a split second, which I thought was interesting. But 18's like, why did I do this? This doesn't make any sense. I just saved a squirrel. And 16's like, our feelings sometimes conflict with our programming, which I really like. I had to wonder in that moment if 16 existing was the reason that 17 and 18 were less evil. Like, would they have just pushed each other into becoming the androids that we see in future Trunks' timeline? You know, it starts out as a game, but then they're like, oh, you know, I could top that. And eventually, but like 16 is constantly pulling him back. Like, we have to go to Goku's house. I'm sensing a bigger power than you, 17. Like, our feelings sometimes conflict with our programming, like imparting this knowledge that wasn't given to them in the original timeline because 16 wasn't part of it. Trunks doesn't recognize it.
That's a really good point. With 16, it's always about this world is actually kind of worth it. Look at the birds. And they kind of, he's an android like us, so they can identify with his perspective. That is, wow, it's an awesome observation. Never thought about it like that, but that's, I'm on board that train.
Thank you. Anyway, Vegeta kicks Cell's ass some more.
Yeah, that just doesn't stop happening. Intermittently, it's been happening over and over.
And I think this is the scene you were talking about.
Where we are back on Piccolo's tower, Kamiculo's tower. Piccolo's standing on the edge, just kind of staring off the edge. which, he's actually watching the fight in his own head or whatever. And so is Tien.
There's like a moment in one of these episodes where Bulma's like, hey guys, what's going on? Come on, tell me. Because they can all sense power and they know what's happening, but Bulma can't.
has no damn idea. So Piccolo has his arms folded and Tien's like, wow, Vegeta's actually taking him down. He's actually doing some work. And then Piccolo stops and says, yeah, but it's Vegeta who's winning, not us. So not the gang, not humanity. Vegeta's winning the fight. It's pretty scary.
So we cut to the hyperbolic time chamber after that. Goku's training in freezing cold while Gohan sleeps.
Yeah. Did you get a good read on how the hyperbolic time chamber empty nowhereness works? Because I am genuinely confused.
No. It's fun thematically to look at. It's very pretty, but like they've talked about how there's wild temperature fluctuations and it can change at any time. Unless there's like water vapor in the air, it wouldn't create ice and glaciers in a storm. To be fair, though, it conflicts because no airflow is one thing. But if the temperature can change from one section of it to the next, like within feet of each other, that would create airflow. That would create wind,
Sure.
which if there's water vapor as well, would create storms, which would create stuff like this. So it depends on what side of the, what is the hyperbolic time chamber that you want to fall on.
I have an idea. Can you guess what my idea is?
No idea.
I think Toriyama thought it'd be cool if it got really hot and cold in there.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to like try to apply not real world logic, but DBZ logic. But the real world logic probably is the more true.
Well, it's just space magic. Like they're in a dimension where time is hyper stretched. So maybe there's something to do with hyper stretching time that causes wild fluctuations in the stream. I don't fucking know. It's a better explanation than the show gives us.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with the weather phenomena. I'm okay with the nowhere dimension and absolutely nothing for miles around and like hot and cold and whatever. But as soon as you start adding like weather effects, it's cool, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. It's just confusing because now there's legitimately ice and it's breaking on Goku. It's like breaking chunks as he fires a Kamehameha, which I'll be honest, his Kamehameha that he did, it's been a long while since we've seen a Goku Kamehameha. I got real fanboyed up when I saw it. I was like, I'm such a bitch for this show.
It's all cool. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah.
But it's just, they just do whatever they want.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Gohan like wakes up. He's been sleeping, and he finds Goku's training, which I actually really like because Goku is setting aside time for his son and making sure his son is where he needs to be. But also Goku needs to train on the level that Goku is at, or else he's not going to get any stronger. And this is going to be potentially a waste of time. He has faith in Gohan and all that stuff, but like Goku needs to train too.
Right.
So he's finding time to do it when he's by himself, which is cool. And this is where he kind of says, you're stronger than I was at your age and you're going to be stronger than me. And Gohan's like, we should train right now because Gohan has this like dream that he turns Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he wants to achieve that dream.
That's why he wakes up. Anyway, Goku relents. He's like, yeah, okay, let's start training right now. And Gohan's like, yeah, you're the best dad in the world. And my favorite line from Goku in this episode is, the best dad in the world would probably make you stay in bed. So he's like self-aware.
He does say, but since I'm not the best dad in the world, do 100 push-ups.
Yeah, and 100 sit-ups. And then,
does that even matter anymore?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a warm-up.
Go ahead and do 5 jumping jacks before lifting this tank.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so strange that would matter.
So Vegeta beats up Cell some more, and then it cuts to real world TV. I believe it's Yamcha Roshi that's flipping through the channels. The only, like, one of them stops, and it's like a commercial for a fishing company or something, and the quote that they said is, ordinary journeys become adventures in our glass-bottom boats.
Right.
And then they changed the I don't know why, but that line just made me laugh. Because it's like, this serious fight, and then they take a break to show that for absolutely no reason. And they had to get somebody to record that line, and I don't know, it's just funny. And there's this cool scene with Chi-Chi and Yamcha.
I didn't write that down. What happens?
It's Yamcha and Chi-Chi, and I believe it's Yamcha that's like, I can't find anything on the TV about this fight or whatever. Or he's just like impatient. That's why he's channel surfing. He's like, I can't. We're just standing here doing nothing.
I do remember this. This is a great moment.
Yeah. And Chi-Chi's like, when your husband is Goku and your son is Gohan, you realize pretty quickly that you can either let it all go or worry yourself to death. That's great advice.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's finally come around to that way of thinking. I honestly don't remember if it lasts, but I hope it does because it was really like mature. The scene kind of goes on and she like recites some kind of poetry to Yamcha to help him cope, and I didn't write it down, but I just remember it being really weird.
And I think Yamcha's like, wow, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how he reacts. But I just thought it was kind of weird. The quote was good, and I like where Chi-Chi's character's at. And Cell finally starts using his tail in the fight. He doesn't do it super often in the fight against Vegeta, but he tries right now as it cuts back to the fight. He tries to absorb Vegeta, but Vegeta just grabs the tail.
he does it while he's upside down.
Yeah, so like it's an amazing shot, but like it's complicated to explain. They're fighting. Vegeta somehow gets grabbed by Cell, and Cell lifts him upside down so that they're like he's hanging.
So Vegeta's butt is upside down in front of Cell's face.
Correct. Yeah. There's this amazing shot.
It's insane. It's because he elbows Cell, who attempts to use the tail, and he counters with an elbow, which pushes Cell forward, and he pushes Vegeta, who is upside down, just puts his arm out, which catches Cell from falling down. But Vegeta is still upside down, holding him, and it says, "Now tell me where you went wrong." And oh my God, just rubs it right in his face. This is prime Vegeta, trained, and it's paying off, and now he gets to rub his big old Saiyan dongity ding right in Cell's face.
I loved it so much. It was really cool. And Krillin sees this from the sky and just says,
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. Yeah. Vegeta brings the fight underwater.
Yeah, and Cell explodes a tuna.
They fight underwater a while just because they can, and then they come back up, and there's this really disgusting shot once they come back to the surface where Cell shakes his body to get the water off
Like a dog.
Like a dog, but his head doesn't move at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just creeped me out. It was so weird.
It adds to the whole inhuman thing.
Yeah,
with
it definitely
Cell.
does.
And this is the moment where Vegeta actually hype mans his son.
He's like all of a sudden a wingman.
Yeah, so Vegeta's saying, you really shouldn't get your hopes up, because even if you could beat me, he points to Trunks and says, that boy, my son, is exactly as strong as I am, or almost. And it destroys Cell. This is the moment where I think Cell just loses it. He knows he can't win now, and so he throws a fucking tantrum.
Krillin does not know if 18's been absorbed or not, because obviously Cell looks different than the last time he's seen him, but he spots her on the island, and he's like, oh man, she's still alive. There's still time to stop this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the end of this episode. It's just, it's kind of bad. But Cell like shouts, Vegeta, if you let me obtain my perfect form, then I'll offer you a real fight. And Vegeta responds, you still sound like a baby who's trying to get his way. And then they just fight some more.
Mm-hmm.
And Cell says, this isn't happening. Ah! And he screams when he gets punched by Vegeta.
Yes.
And the episode just ends.
Mm-hmm.
No narration. Like mid-scream, it just cuts to credits.
I thought that was weird, because there's always an outro thing. Well, normally.
Something like a musical cue or a narration or something.
Yes.
And there was nothing.
This one
here.
just straight to the credits.
It was odd. And I don't know why. Episode 158. The Japanese title is I'm So Distraught. Kuririn's handiwork in destroying number 18. The American title is Krillin's Decision.
My episode title is I don't know what's worse. Vegeta's hyperinflated, swollen, throbbing pride, or Krillin's pansy-ass white knight milady bullshit.
Yeah, this episode, I have so much to say on this episode.
I'm glad you do, because I don't. And most of it is, go ahead. Let's just start.
Yeah. Cell's mad. That's how this episode
That's
opens.
it. It's just Cell being a bitch again.
Cell goes nuts in this episode. He starts talking to himself in front of Vegeta, and I think it's a trick, doing it on purpose so that Vegeta can overhear him. He's like, oh man, if only I could absorb 18, then I would be very powerful, and then I could put up a fight with Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so disappointed that I'm never going to get the chance to be my perfect form. 16 and 18 are still hanging out on the island for some reason, and Krillin spots her. I like this rehash of spotting 18 more because Krillin is close enough that 16 and 18 are like having a conversation. They're like, you need to go.
18 understands her role in the situation, but also does not want to leave 16, the other android, her only companion,
her only other android at this point.
Yes, doesn't want to leave. Yeah.
And when Krillin spots 18, that conversation that she's having with him continues, but it goes to Krillin's perspective, and you can just barely make out the dialogue. Like it's muffled as if it's very far away, but she's actually saying stuff, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, doesn't he get so spooked when he first spots her that he just drops the remote?
Yeah, then he has to catch it. He lands down, and he's like, okay, I got to get within 10 meters of this to use this remote and shut him down. And he has a crisis of conscience. And he's like, I don't know if I can do this, because if I press this button, it immobilizes 18. But she won't die. I have to be the one to actually kill her.
Mhm.
and I don't know if I can do that, but I have to get closer before I can do any of this. So he's like,
Yeah.
he tiptoes, sneaks up on him.
Mhm.
It's as close as he can. He sees a random squirrel drops on his head, which is kind of funny.
Yes. Well, it was right after he's talking to himself in his own head. I don't know if I can kill her. And then he stops and goes, she's so beautiful. And then the chipmunk lands right on his head.
That's right.
Punctuate the weirdness.
And then the squirrel runs over to 16 and 18 and sits on 16's shoulder,
Mhm.
which also shows Krillin like, hey, they have more humanity than they should. Then it cuts back to Vegeta. Vegeta is thinking about facing off against Cell's perfect form. He's like, maybe.
Yeah, Vegeta's kind of beginning to think, well, maybe you're not full of shit, Cell. If I let you absorb the android, maybe this fight will be worth it. And the music during this part conveys that weird sense of tension really well.
And Cell, the writing here is pretty on point too. Cell uses analogy. He says, you're like a kid who just got a new bike and doesn't have anywhere to ride it.
Yeah.
Vegeta has all this power, but he can't go all out.
Yeah. And if Vegeta had any fucking brains at all, he would think, why not Goku in one day? Like, Cell is not the reason that Vegeta's getting strong. It's to surpass Goku. So what the fuck? Anyway, whatever.
Back to Krillin. Krillin notices that 18 looks legitimately scared. Very human emotion. And he struggles. This whole episode is him going back and forth on whether you should push the button or not. And it sucks. I'm just going to get into it now.
Yeah, okay.
Every time it shows the pro column for keeping 18 alive, it's because Krillin thinks she's beautiful.
That's it.
He remembers the kiss and all that stuff. What it should have been and what really would sell this episode, don't change anything except Krillin's inner monologue and have him notice that they're more human now.
Yes.
And that they haven't really killed anybody in their time here, despite what Trunks was saying. And does he really have what it takes to kill what is essentially an innocent person?
Right. Yes. Somebody that was taken and experimented on against their will doesn't get a choice because they have internal programming that they're constantly trying to fight. All of the visual cues are showing Krillin that these characters are human, but it focuses solely on his physical attraction to 18 and his fixation with that one kiss. Her weird little like goofy pity kiss, because that's 100% what it was. It ruins him. It ruins. I honestly feel a little sad for Krillin.
It's so close to being great because I know that those thoughts are in Krillin's head. You know what I mean? Like he could say those things about 18 being more human and her deserving a chance to experience life in the world outside of her programming. I know that Krillin can say those things, but he's so damn fixated on the physical aspect that it's just very poorly written. Like it feels almost out of character. It's in character for like filler Krillin, like comic relief side, you know what I mean?
That
like
is solely that and not given the responsibility of saving humankind at this exact moment.
When the stakes are this high, Krillin is a different person, and he's never shown himself to be this
gross.
Yeah.
It's gross, and he's Anakin Skywalker looking at Padme in episode 2. He's like, you're so beautiful. I have a hard time thinking straight. Like, that is creepy and weird. I don't necessarily like Krillin. This is not Krillin. This is something
I'm glad you agree. My headcanon just overwrites the awkwardness of all of this.
Oh, and it's cringy as hell.
Yeah,
nowadays,
they stay on it for way too long, especially. It did not age well.
A couple little intercuts in there where Cell is able to somewhat convince Vegeta a little bit more. He's rolling some good rolls on his charisma checks. And Vegeta's like, okay, you're really starting to get me thinking this is worth. And then they do cut to Gohan and Goku having a sweet steam bath where they have a little water splash fight, which is kind of adorable.
Oh my God, it's so cute. Like, I love that they gave these characters a chance to be father and son.
Yes.
They have a little splash fight, and Goku's like, here comes the Super Saiyan splash attack. It's just like, it's just adorable.
It
like,
really is.
It reminds me of like spending time with my dad when I was growing up, and it's just really cool.
It's fantastic. And then we get to probably the worst part of the episode, the absolute worst part. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it? It's up to you.
No, just do it.
Krillin says he's still having this internal fight, which is visually displayed very well. I 100% agree that we should just, if we were to change this, just the dialogue. That's it. And because there's so much tension and so much confusion, it's showing Krillin's face spinning around and around and around and around and around. And it's like zooming in and out. And it's not too disorienting, but it's displaying his confusion. And it's showing like quick flash cuts to her kiss and her face. That part is a little weird because, again, it's just focusing on her physicality. It's just a little odd. And the very end, he goes, "Oh, I can't do it. I love her."
Ugh,
and then he drops the remote. And my note is just, fuck you. That's all it is. I was eating a burger at the time and I had it in my hand and I didn't remember he actually says this.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And so I'm trying to eat the burger and I'm just like, whatever, making catty comments to myself. I'm like, this is dumb. I hate this. And then he goes, "I can't do it. I love her." And I went, "Oh, fuck you." And I dropped the burger and it fucking splattered on my monitor. This scene almost ruined my beautiful Acer 144 hertz monitor with 15 dead pixels.
Dude, I'm a little curious what the Japanese subtitles say during the scene, but I'm pretty sure it's just as bad, if not worse.
It's maybe the worst part.
I'm also curious what Dragon Ball Z Kai did with this scene.
I don't know, because it's not like...
And actually, like, the scene improves immensely as soon as Krillin just opens his mouth. From where it was to what he says, I buy it a lot more than...
Okay, the only reason I'm giving is because... So 18 realizes that Krillin is there. Mostly Krillin drops the remote and they see
He just
it.
comes out of hiding as soon as he breaks the remote.
So 18 sees the remote on the ground and recognizes that's what it is. A freeze me and kill me remote. Oh no.
Yeah, but she doesn't instantly like show aggression toward Krillin.
Yeah, just doesn't move. It's that little guy, she says.
And Krillin approaches them and says, "Nice day, huh? I came here to kill you."
That's right, which actually is a good line. I like
it's
that
a good
line a lot. And then he stomps on the remote. 18 says, like, "Why didn't you do it?" And Krillin, his internal thoughts are, "Oh, I wish she would stop looking at me with those big puppy dog eyes. Just stop talking."
He's fine as long as he's not internally monologuing. His interaction with 18 in person doesn't bother me, but the fact that they just put this awful internal monologue in there.
Even from the uncomfortableness of the cell absorbing androids, this is worse. So is this so far worst part of the saga, you think?
Yeah, it's terrible, but it doesn't ruin the story.
It's another speed bump.
It's a pretty massive speed bump,
but it is a big one. Yeah.
Krillin recovers, I think. I can't remember him being quite as awful in the future. And he doesn't outwardly say anything that ruins his character to other people.
Yeah.
So in the Cell Vegeta ring, Vegeta says, "Fine, go absorb 18. I'll wait here, and then we'll fight." And Cell goes to do just that. And Trunks finally says, "No, like we have to kill Cell." Trunks says, "If you keep going, I'm going to have to destroy you." And Cell says, "We'll just see about that." And then Trunks instantly lets him see about that.
Punches him so hard, like as hard, if not harder than any of the Vegeta punches.
Yeah, correct. And Vegeta looks on at this fight and says, "Darn kid, just like his father." But that's not true at all, because he's trying to stop Cell from absorbing 18, and Vegeta wants to do it just so that he can show off.
Yeah, Vegeta thinks that Trunks just wants to also exercise his new powers, just like his dad.
He's like delusional at this point.
Is. He's absolutely... That's why the title of this episode is I don't know which is worse.
Yeah, Vegeta and Krillin, I will say, like, Vegeta is sticking in character at least.
Right.
I feel like Krillin breaks the character that I have known him as up until this point.
Yeah.
But they're still both awful in this episode.
Yes. This is I would say, a divisive episode.
To finish it off, Cell, while he's fighting Trunks, spots where the androids are. There's this cool, like, black and white vignette as they look at the bird's eye view of the island. And it's all black and white except for the little circle where 16 and 18 are hiding. It was pretty cool. And the episode ends there.
It's way better than the last episode ending of just nothing.
Finally, we get to episode 159. The Japanese title is "A Shock to the Entire Universe, Cell's Spectacular Evolution Towards His Perfect Form." The American title is "The Last Defense."
My episode title is just one word. Fuck.
It's kind of perfect, actually. This episode opens with good old Trunks shouting a warning to Krillin and the androids that Cell knows where they are. And Vegeta watching this fight, Vegeta says, "I see. Trunks wants to test out his powers as well." No, he doesn't, Vegeta. He doesn't. I like the fight between Trunks and Cell, actually.
I do too.
There's good stakes. There's real good visuals. Like, Trunks' only goal is to stop Cell from getting to 18.
You know what I find interesting? I guess neither Trunks nor Vegeta are actually trying to outright murder Cell.
I was going to try to defend his character, but he already killed Frieza and Frieza's dad, so I can't. Like, he obviously doesn't have anything against
The
murdering.
murder. Like, it's great. It's a great scene, and it's awesome seeing him be this powerful, but it's also just a little weird to me.
The only thing that I can think of is if he's actually not as powerful as Vegeta was.
So 18 is continuing to worry about 16. Now knowing that Cell is after them, though, 18's like, all right, I'm a go.
She's not happy about it. You can definitely tell, but 16 pushes her off, and her and Krillin finally run.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's too little too late. And as soon as I was thinking that, it indeed was too little too late. But Trunks steps in the way, and then Vegeta stops Trunks from getting to Cell, which is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird, uncomfortable infighting thing that the good guy, supposed good guy, which at this point, Vegeta is not a good guy. We get that.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But that the other good guy that is there is getting attacked by the gray guy. That's the moral gray dickbag is ruining everything, and it feels bad.
The tables turn in this scene, and it just sucks.
Yes.
I mean, it's great television, but it sucks.
Yeah, it feels like all the hopefulness that we got from the previous everything, like even after Cell absorbed Android 17, we knew that Vegeta and Trunks were going to come out and they were going to come fight him. So there was some hope there. The hope is gone now.
So who's going to come to the rescue now and stop Cell from absorbing 18?
16. 16, like a real man, stands between Cell and 18.
Yeah, he gets up even though he's injured. Krillin just tries to go ham against Cell because he's literally got nothing left.
Yeah.
Cell swaps him away like a fly and just calls him a rat bag.
He does attack him kind of like a rat. Like he jumps on him.
He does,
like,
hey, right in his face.
Yeah.
But like, what else are you going to do at that point?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe do the most effective fucking technique in the show. Since A, you're just trying to run the fuck away, and B, it works every goddamn time and is one of the only things you know how to do.
I don't think anybody can use solar flare anymore. I think something changed in the show because like it's so effective, right? Like it's the best move. It's too strong, so something must have happened to the sun because otherwise, for sure, somebody would have used it, right?
Oh my god!
So 16 gives it a shot, and Cell also swats him away. Then 18, which seems extraordinarily ill-advised.
That's all that's left. Like, what do
you do? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Trunks makes an impassioned speech to Vegeta, which does not work.
Nope.
He's like, "Don't do this, father. Like, I'm gonna attack you," and Vegeta's like, "Nah." You wouldn't attack me.
That's right. I know you don't have it in you. Your feelings will stop you. That's what makes you weak. And then Trunks fucking blasts him anyway. It's one of the most badass things.
It's so good. Just finally steps up to his father.
Yes.
It's great. We cut to Goku and Gohan for just a split second for a nice little moment between them.
Yeah.
Goku is bringing Gohan to bed after a long day of training. Gohan's basically exhausted and puts him to sleep in the bed and says, "You're my big, super cool son."
At this point, it's getting a little weird how wholesome this is versus how awful everything else is.
It's very juxtaposed for sure.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Tonal whiplash. All right, we get back to the 18 cornered by Cell and actually blasts him away with like a big purple blast thing.
It kind of works.
Yeah.
Like she kind of defends herself for a bit.
Mm-hmm. And then Cell opens his tail hole and everybody's butthole puckers knowing what's about to happen. But Trunks actually shows up and beats the shit out of Cell because Trunks has just dispatched his father. I think Trunks yells at 18 like, "Why are you still here?"
But she still won't because plot device. Then it cuts to Vegeta for a second, and
This is such a good thing.
It's maybe my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Vegeta's just floating in the water, just kind of thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's just been blasted into the water, and he's like, "Oh, my son is so powerful. Too bad he's playing for the wrong side." It's like, "Fuck you, Vegeta."
Yeah, seriously, you fucking dick. Don't even go back. But he does. He blasts off from his float position. It's a total like belly float.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He can
was very
fly
relaxing
anywhere, and he's just in the water floating. So he's going to go back and fight his son now.
Cell's kind of getting beat just a little bit, and then he decides to use the most powerful move in the universe.
That, as was foretold, the most magnificent technique in all of the Dragon Ball Z lexicon. Technicicon? Namicnomicon.
Oh, Namekinomicon.
Yeah, that was way better. Even Namekinomicon. It's
there you
the
go.
solar flare. That's what he does. And it's because it's Cell, it's an ultra solar flare.
Of course. And Krillin's like, not again.
Yeah.
Krillin and 18 desperately try to stop the absorption, but they're blind and it happens anyway. My next note is basically John's episode title, just as, oh, fuck.
Yes, it is the most uncomfortable one. The swallow
It's
here,
really
the tail
bad.
swallow is real uncomfortable because it's slow and Cell gets it over 18. And then Krillin is trying to blindly punch Cell. And
Dude, everybody's trying to stop him. Like even Trunks shows up again, like just trying everything to stop this from happening. And it just keeps
cutting to the tail, undulating and pulsing. And it's like, that's what it is. It's 18 kicking and trying to get out, but it's too late. He tail swallows her ass and then he becomes perfect.
I love this transformation scene though, because like, first of all, you get the standard DBZ effects that you're expecting. His whole body glows, lightning, earthquakes, the world doesn't know what to do. And it even cuts to Namek for a second, which was out of nowhere. And they're like, oh no, there's this new powerful power in the universe. And it might destroy the whole universe, just to give you kind of context on how powerful it is. But Dende's grown up a little bit, just a bit. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit older, which is interesting. Yeah,
mirroring Gohan's growth, kind of.
And Krillin, in the end, thinks back to how this is his fault. And I wish, okay, A, true, but B, not 100%. Like, I would go so low as to say, like, even maybe 30% his fault. Because everybody had a part to play in this happening. And I wish this episode had cut to the inner monologue thoughts of every character, because it shows Krillin and he thinks that, and then it cuts to everybody else, but there's no inner monologue.
Yeah.
And I wish it would have been like, I should have killed 18 when I had a chance, or whatever he says. And then it cuts to Trunks and says, oh man, I wish I would have stopped my father better. And then it cuts to 18 and says, oh, well, 18's not there. But then it cuts to Vegeta, and Vegeta's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just cap off the episode.
I think that's in Dragon Ball Z Abridged, actually, is they do that where everybody it cuts to everybody and they go, no, and Vegeta's screaming yes. I think that's actually the direct.
It's a really good joke.
But no, Krillin, you're right. It's like maybe 30%. If Cell's evolution was a road trip, right? Krillin's decision was a flat tire. Vegeta is a meteor striking the gas tank. Like, there is a very big difference in blame that should go around.
The cool thing about this transformation is we don't see the final form of Cell.
That's right. He's just cloaked in light.
Yeah, the episode ends before. I think we get little hints. We see like a little bit of his face changing, but that's it. We see his shape kind of change, but we don't see any details. And then the episode ends, but it's too late. Perfect Cell is upon us.
It's happening.
I'm so excited and equally disappointed to see Vegeta get his comeuppance. I'm sure he's going to get his comeuppance in the next couple episodes. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember a lot of this saga. I'm excited for that fight to go horribly wrong.
I'm puckered and prepared.
But also Goku and Gohan are going to bail from the time chamber soon, and I honestly don't remember how they come into play either.
I am more excited to continue watching their hyperbolic time chamber shenanigans. Honestly, that's some of my favorite stuff. Like Vegeta, I get it. I get what's about to happen next, but I don't know what's going on in the time chamber. Maybe they're going to have a bubble bath. Maybe we're going to make some snowmen. Who knows? It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
You're getting good at those.
Yeah, thank you. I've had a lot of practice. Thanks for listening to this episode of Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. We enjoy making this podcast. We hope you enjoy listening to it. If you want to send us some feedback, you can do so at mail, M-A-I-L, at ehdbz.com. You can also find us on Twitter using the handle at EricHatesDBZ, or on Instagram using the handle at EricHatesDragonBallZ.
You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/ehdbz, where you can check out a lot of really excellent, unique, and totally original, not copied from anybody else tiers, where you can help support our podcasts. Don't worry if you can't. There's no worries at all. We're kind of throwing it out there because, I don't know, it seemed like a fun thing to do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff on there that we're excited to do. It's just, time is a factor, and if we know that you guys want to see it with your support, then we know that we can make that time happen.
Yeah, it's hard to do the things that we want to do with regular ass 9-to-5 boring cog and machine hate life, everything sucks, pay taxes jobs. So this would help offset some of that.
Yeah. Anyway, so check that out if you want to. All the music in this podcast is done by the incredibly hardworking, talented John Good. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud under the name Burn7.
Check me out. There's a death metal track on there. It's really rocking. It's called Chaos Marine. Give it a listen. It's great. It blasts your earballs out. If you want more entertainment from our team, check out Tales of Nowhere. It's a tabletop RPG podcast where we take one cast of characters from multiple games and rule sets to tell one epic story. We're on season 2. We got a season 1. You can binge the shit out of that if you want to. It's great. I don't know how to wrap that one up. TalesOfNowhere.com.
I think that's just about everything.
Do you have anything loaded in the chamber? Do you have any ideas at all for this?
I was gonna say sell you later.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't say sell you later. Oh my god.
What about we'll be back in a couple weeks with a new episode. Until then, check out some fun movies on Netflix or something. Maybe you could watch 18 going on Vori. It's like 13 going on 30.
Oh, but you did 18 going on Vori. Hey, okay, all right. That's a double. I get it. All right, it's like an Oreo. You got to open it up and then check out what's in it.
Yeah.
Which is...
I mean, it's not good. Don't eat that Oreo. But it's a pun.